What's going on, guys? Austin with Fieldcraft Survival, and today in this installment for the Eastmans hunting journals, we're going to talk about survival mindset and survival psychology. So a large part of survival is actually having the right mindset. So you probably have heard, really in anything, if you've played sports, if you grew up any kind of competitive sport, you've probably heard mindset is really important. And that's because having the mindset prior to being in whatever the activity is very powerful for the outcome of that situation. And if you look at the survivors of different types of survival situations, whether it be in the open ocean, whether it be prisoners of war, or even just in the backcountry, the mindset that that person has, and when they do survive that situation and they come back and they talk about their experiences, they talk strongly about having the mindset where they were afraid and they were able to face their fears or able to face those emotions. And having the ability to have a strong mind and build a resilient mindset is important. And we can train those things prior to ever even being in a survival situation. You build that through doing physically difficult things, challenging things, going on a little bit longer hike, going on a little bit longer run. Whatever that is, you can start to build that resiliency, which is going to play into the psychology behind surviving a survival situation. Now, think about a circumstance where maybe you go out on a hunt, fishing trip, whatever it is, and maybe you get turned around because your land nav skills aren't quite what they should be, and you haven't seen the land nav installment of these videos, and you get turned around and you have to spend an unexpected overnight in the woods. Well, maybe there's a few things that you can start doing right because you've thought through that scenario. What might happen if I'm ever in this scenario, what I may do. And maybe you can't get a fire going. Now, fire is one of those things that really, it brings people together, but also it gives you like this glimmer of hope. It's a very strong thing to have in the field, and especially in a survival situation. Now, maybe you don't have all the equipment you thought you needed to get a fire going. Maybe you just aren't able and aren't as competent with that skill set as you are with other skill sets. Now, that can be detrimental to your mindset by feeling like you failed at something. However, survival is also a game of victories, small victories. And so maybe you have all the cordage you need in your bag, and you have a tarp in your bag and some type of shelter and some type of bedding. Well, I can remember all the knots that I needed to tie. That's a victory. I can set up my shelter. That's a small victory. I can build out a little bit of bedding and make myself comfortable. And I did pack all the things I needed, extra layers to stay warm throughout the night. I have a sleeping bag or a sleep system. That's another small victory. Now, when you start stacking up these little victories, not being able to get that fire going, or maybe failing at something else, or not being successful in something else, doesn't seem like that big of a deal anymore. So a lot of it is going to be in the way that you approach a situation, what that resiliency is like within yourself. So I want you guys to start practicing having that resilient mind, because as we go out and we adventure out, whether we're hunting, fishing this season, backpacking, whatever it is that you do in the great outdoors, you can start to find little ways and see those little victories and plan your success for worst case scenarios prior to ever even being in them. Now, hopefully none of us ever are, but should you ever be in that scenario, practicing getting a resilient mind, having the right mindset, is going to get you through that situation. Now, there are some circumstances where you can be stranded or left without actually anything. Maybe you only have what's in your pockets and on your person. And that's another video and another lesson for another time about layering your equipment so that way you do have some survival gear on you. However, finding yourself with nothing can be even more detrimental to your situation and put you further behind the power curve, so to speak. Now, one thing you do have to rely on sometimes is grit, and that's kind of the ability to dig deep and just get through something that's difficult. And again, a lot of the athletes that watch this, or people that go through and do things like Ironmans or really difficult climbing, anything like that, can relate to and understand that. And a lot of the hunters will be able to understand that too. When it's cold and you're wet and you're hungry, but you got to keep pressing just to get that last little bit. That's grit. And coupling that with a good skill set in a survival situation is really the ultimate thing that we're looking for. However, understanding the nature of survival situations and emergencies, not having everything is kind of typical, just being limited on supplies and limited on resources. So that grit is going to play a part in your survival as well. Thanks, guys, and we hope to catch you guys in the next video.